All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Giving double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect. Shalom to all the brothers out here laboring in this truth with sincerity. And shalom to the few sisters that watch. Just coming back with a quick lesson because I was, just pondering, trying to watch, different lessons, from the elders, apostles, different brothers. And I found, myself, straying off, clicking on other videos that had nothing to do with the truth, going to Instagram, just being distracted, thinking about stuff that don't even matter, just being distracted, and then I just thought, man, that'll be a good lesson to bring out, staying focused on the task at hand, because we know Babylon the Great is really set up for distractions, man. Everything here pretty much is set up for a distraction, especially when it comes down to social media. You get to clicking on stuff and then your algorithm get all messed up, man. Hey, it's definitely made for a distraction, man. So I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, and I know different brothers and even people that's not in the truth, man, that just had to detach from Instagram, TikTok, and all that, man, because it starts to take a lot of your time. You next thing you know, a whole hour has passed and you got nothing accomplished. But that's the thing about it, man. These people wanted to be like that, man. So enough rambling. We're going to get into the scriptures. So we're going to go to the book of Proverbs, chapter 5. We're going to start from the top, and then we're just going to go into a couple of these words, or maybe one word. But it says, my son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding. It says that thou mayest regard discretion, and that my lips may keep knowledge. So we want to focus on this word, attend, because once you break it down and go into it, it really means to focus. So let's get it in the NLT. It says, my son, pay attention to my wisdom. And where's the wisdom? Where is the wisdom? The wisdom is contained within these scriptures, man. That's where the wisdom lies. It says, my son, pay attention to my wisdom. Listen carefully to my wise counsel. And the wisdom comes from different places, man. Wisdom comes from the scriptures, comes from brothers, You never know where Yahweh Shem Shai may, just what situation you may be put in to where wisdom is brought forth. But for the most part, man, first and foremost, they're contained within these scriptures. It says, then you show discernment, and your lips will express what you've learned. So everything we learn, through these scriptures, man, will be carried out in our daily lives. That's why it's important to stay focused, because if we get off task, we start just wondering, how it used to be back in the world, things you used to do back in the world. Like I say, man, this Instagram, some of this stuff on YouTube is meant to be a distraction. So we gotta be in the spirit at all times, man. So we'll read that again. It says, my son, attend unto my wisdom. Stay in the scriptures. Stay in the scriptures. Less social media, less TV, less whatever, get into the scriptures. Like I say, I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, and it's something that I definitely need to do. Get more, just get more engulfed, into this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because we're coming upon times that's going to be dire out here, man. You're not going to be able to turn to social media. You're not going to be able to turn to the people of the world. You never know what situation you may be put in. That's why it's so important to get this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to be able to apply it out here in this world, man. So it says, my son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear unto my understanding. So, hearken. It says that thou mayest regard discretion, and that my lips may keep knowledge. So let's go into this word, attend. That's really what we want to.
Strong's H 7181. Kashav. Kashav.
We know that's, going off. I hadn't really, kashav. I hadn't really went into the word in the Hebrew. That's something that I should do. But it says to hear, be attentive, heed, incline ears, attend of ears, hearken, pay attention, listen. So basically, you're paying attention, you're being attentive. And let's see, I already pretty much looked it up. Attentive. It says attentive is an adjective describing someone who is giving close and thoughtful attention, often characterized by listening and observing carefully. And that's what we must do. It says, here's a breakdown of the term. It says, as a trait, being attentive means that you are focused and engaged with something or someone. So that's what we want to do. We want to stay engaged with these scriptures, as well as brothers, man. That's the only way we're going to be able to grow in the faith. Learning from brothers, learning from elder brothers, man, from apostle on down, and getting engulfed in these scriptures. That's all we got, man. This is all we have. Let's see. As a skill, it says attentiveness is crucial for effective communication and building relationship. It shows respect and care for others. Yeah. Hey, especially when you out on the highways and hedges, you're doing lessons. Effective communication. And when you're around brothers, you're building relationship, man. You got to be focused on this truth. Is basically what I'm saying, man. Through the spirit and power, how about Shemi Al-Shai, of course. So, like I said, it's not going to be a long lesson. Like I said, I just thought about it really, and thought of, looked up some scriptures, man, that was kind of pertain to, what we're going in. So, and this one right here pretty much sums it up. This book is 2 Timothy chapter 2, starting from the top, man. It says, thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Hamashiach Yahushua. It says, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also. So, this comes with being focused, man. You can't be an effective teacher if you halfway involved, if you're halfway paying attention and you're not all the way focused, if your mind is focusing on things of the world, females, money, whatever, your even your kids, everything, man. So it says, thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Mashiach. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life. So we got to stay focused, man. Focus on the task at hand. It says that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. And that's our Lord, Yahushua, man. Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So, we've been, given a great task, to learn his truth, 100% truth, and to be able to explain, break it down, because we're fishing, you know, for the hopeful elect out there, man, or for the elect. You know, so we got to stay focused, man. It's easy to get distracted out here in this world. That's pretty much the base of this lesson, you know. Like I say, I'm talking to myself first. Salakia, it was a call coming in, broke up the recording of the lesson, you know, always. But like I was saying, you know, we got to focus on the task at hand, you know, really, really, really go hard for this truth. You know, like I said, first and foremost, I'm speaking for myself. Easy to get distracted, man. So much stuff pulling you away, especially your jobs, man. If you got kids, all that stuff, man. But we got to understand, this job is greater than any job we ever had, man. So, you know, pretty much that's the base. So, Lord willing, it was edifying. We want to constantly give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Shalom.